What do you think?
Listen up! I'm only gonna say this once!
Time for some live oil painting. Time for some live oil painting.
Time for some live oil painting.
So,
Hit your pen, pour a drink, and dive into the chat to see what's running through the mind of the man who knows he's holier than that. Saint Carlos, patron saint of oil paint.
Saint of oil paint.
This is Paint with a Saint.
What's up, y'all? Am I here? I'm here. We good. Hello. Hope you dig the new intro. Put that together because it was getting kind of confusing doing like all these painting episodes with an intro that's for my travel show. So I figured I'd take some time out yesterday instead of painting and make a little new intro. So I hope you dig. Today we have to do a little bit of adjusting of things from our first session. You can see on here that we have some masking tape. I was going to begin with putting in the base of the boards and then the ice, which is what the focus of today's session is going to be. But I realized when I was looking at the line in my sketch that it was tilted just enough that in the final painting, I feel like it would feel off, right? So I was like, well, let me just make it straight. You know, the angle that we're looking at with these people sitting on the ice, tilting it that much, it's not going to show. You won't be able to figure that out in the translation of, the final painting. But you would know when you glance at the painting that you're looking at a straight line instead of an angle line. So I put the masking tape up, and then I realized that the boards above, so this gap here, was different on either side as well. So we'll get the yellow in down here, but we're gonna have to do some adjustments over in here as well, and then up a little bit higher. So let's see, let me reposition us here so we can see a little bit more of what it is we got to work on today. That's cool. Oop, that just dropped. This, and that should be good enough. Okay, so I need to bring this railing up a little higher over here, and then a lot higher over this way, and then also I'm going to have to adjust the heights of the boards here as well as the heights of the boards here. So that's going to be our game for today. Let's start top and work our way down, and then hopefully we can get to everything we're trying to get to today. If I need to, we can just do another stream. There's going to be like 30 of them for this painting, so no big deal. We got Jessica in the chat. Yay, I love hockey. I do too, Jessica. Good to have you. I hope you get to hang out and watch for a while today. I don't know, have you seen the full reference of what we're doing? Because this is a pretty big painting. I can pull it up for you guys really quick. Here's the reference picture that we're going off of. So this was photographed many years ago, obviously, because I believe that's just an applicator on the left there. And I just loved it. I felt like it had a composition of like a classical Renaissance or a French, no, not French Romantic, but basically like a Renaissance painting. More like a Caravaggio type action allegory painting. So I really liked it, and I was like, all right, I want to paint that someday. So I saved it, and now here we are. So I have it zoomed in on this section here because I was going to be working on the boards where you see that yellow there. Let me do a quick adjustment for you guys so you can see more of it, and then you'll get a better idea of what we're doing. Sound good? Sound good. I'm going to scoot our chat over. Chat is a little. Alright, what would you say? I love that. I can see that too. Yeah, for sure. And I wish, and I tried so hard in the Photoshop version where I'm trying to get my proportions figured out. I tried so hard to change the environment to be like a classic Caravaggio type painting, so a very dark room with maybe some red curtains in the background, and then still the hockey fight that's happening, full gear, full skates, little bit of ice, but black ice that just shows a little bit of reflection, and then those super sharp chiaroscuro shadows, but it just didn't look right. There's something about the modernity of the players and the referee that did not fit that, so I figured it would be better to do justice just to paint the photo as it was shot, but making some adjustments to make it paintable. So, I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. Let's pop in. I still have my palette pulled out from the first couple episodes. However, I forgot to put it away in my air box, my airlock box. But as you may be able to see, it's still working. So it's worked to my benefit that my studio that I'm painting in is freezing constantly. It's like 59 degrees right now, so that's helped it take a little bit longer to set up, if that makes sense. So we're gonna start in here, just bringing these boards up a little bit higher. And then when it's all said and done, we'll have like a nice balanced stage of vertical lines in the background. Directly on the nose stuff, not really my bag, but there's no way around it in this painting, obviously. It's staged to have a dead-on view, and the action of what's taking place in the scene supersedes the effect that you could get by having like a funky angle. Sorry, didn't to rack my brain there. It's pretty fun. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this painting. I've also been really excited to have hockey season. Finally, we got regular hockey going on, and I've been trying to keep up and watch every game and all that, and I've always been a Red Wings fan through thick and thin, but since it's the Centennial season, I figured it's a great time to do this painting, but also it's finally time for me to get my Red Wings tattoo. I've been kicking that idea around for years, since 2008. Last time we won the cup. But since that season, because that was like the season I saw the most games live. We bonded, me and my dad and my brother, by watching hockey together. It was great. I got the Stanley Cup championship hat when we won the cup, and then I wore it out on tour for my first, and it turned out to be only national tour I was on for hip hop. If you don't know about my hip hop history, please don't ask. It's embarrassing. Just kidding. I try to move from one interest to the next constantly, without really like harping on the last thing, and sometimes going back and revisiting the memories isn't as nostalgic and fun as you might think. So I don't really talk about it much, but something I'm still proud I did. So after I put these lines in, I'm just going through with a drier brush to buff out the edge to soften it up a little bit, because we want that to blur into the background. I'm sorry, I'm painting off canvas over here. I should probably track the camera out a little bit. But this will be a quick portion here. Let's see if I can't more view. A little bit better, right? Okay. I got this new line up top. I'll need to put in right below that. There's going to be some blue that's peeking through, so I'm going to need to adjust that and hit the whites on the boards, but I'm going to have to get these whites on the boards figured out. Now, there is an adjustment that's going to happen here. What was it? Oh, when I peel this up, I got to bring that up higher. Okay, that's what it was. That's pretty easy. So let me see if we just notch this out right now. Okay, I see. So that's not bad. I just got to fill up a couple areas with some white where there was the blue of the railing there. That's pretty chill. Okay, in order to do that, I'm gonna bring back this white brush. I actually, you know what, I'm gonna find a different one because this is the one that I've been using to put down the white of the ice. And I don't want to fully saturate this brush because I'm gonna be using it later. I'm gonna grab something ridiculous. That sounds good. Alright, I'll save that brush. And right now, I'm gonna just start dropping some white in. Now, the titanium white that I have on my palette, it already has plenty of little hints of blue mixed into it, just from mixing and moving paint as we were working this out. So, if I, for instance, just come right up here and start dropping it in, it's going to pick up some blue and it's going to drop some blue. All I'm saying is that I don't always use straight pigment. I'm almost 100% of the time mixing pigments on my palette. There's no such thing as like pour it out of the tube, put it on the painting. This is still off camera, that's okay. You guys will see what I'm doing in just a second when I come over this way. So this is going to come up to about here. And I can let the bottom, this edge here, I can let that kind of fade out a little bit. We don't need the world's most definition in the background. Actually, we need the opposite. We need it to be as blurred out as possible so as to make the foreground as sharp as possible. That contrast and that relationship between the foreground and the background. Now, none of what I'm saying is like a hard, steadfast rule for all paintings. This is just for this painting. Like, you do have levels of focus that you dial in and out. I just know for a fact that this piece that we're doing here, I want the background to be as blurred as I can get it. But if you're painting along, which I don't think you are, I think people are tuning in to watch me fall flat on my face. But if you are painting along, it's just something to keep in mind that I'm going to say a lot of stuff about this piece that we're working on, but that does not necessarily mean that's the same rule for every painting. Alright, sweet. So that's subtle like that. So now we need to make some adjustments down here. But we're not going to do that until we put this yellow in, because the white will start where we're going to put the yellow in here for the bottom of the boards, but the white will begin there and then come up. So let's drop that new yellow in, and then we can balance these shapes out a little bit more. I have a new color to introduce to the palette. I haven't used this on the stream at all for our first painting or this one yet, but I bought a cadmium lemon. I realized that using my ochres, I just couldn't get the chromatic pop up high enough to hit the yellows of the boards the way that I wanted to, so we're going to introduce a new color to the palette, and we'll see how it works out for us. As always, I need to use liquid for my mixing medium. This is a fast drying medium. It allows me to put brush strokes down and then come back in a day or two and have them 100% dry before moving on to the next layer. Since this is a direct painting method approach, I don't really need to worry about that since we're putting down brush strokes and moving on. But it's just nice to be able to come up to your painting and be like, oh, okay, we're all dry, got it. And it's something that I'm used to because my preferred method of painting does necessitate being able to come back in immediately the day after to put in some more brush strokes. All right, let's see, let's find another decent sized brush here. Start plugging in the baseboards. Got a big fat brush, but it's kind of chunky from previous painting sessions. Let's see how that works for us. Mix this cad lemon, a little bit of this ochre, get a nice bright yellow. And we'll start here, see what we can pull off. Go, team, go. All right, see what happens. That feels like the exact tone I'm looking for. Now, there is an issue that I'm going to run into with like all the CAD colors, but cadmium yellow in particular, is that it's a really transparent pigment, so any of my pencil sketch from the underlayer is going to pop through. I already know that. So I'll make adjustments for that later on. essentially all I'll need to do is just take big, thick impasto strokes and smash it down on where those pencil lines are coming through, and then just kind of fade it off a little bit to hide them. I wouldn't always use masking tape. Normally, if you've been following me, I just eyeball everything and then make adjustments if I need to, but I want to make sure that this has a straight line that's congruent, that's, you know, even and level across from one side to the other. So that's why I masked it off today. Even the edges on this is going to be just as blurred out as everything else, you know, and that's part of the process. So we will invariably have like some movement and little wobble in the layout, but right now this is the way to go for me to get it lined up. And a lot of these painting methods, this like direct painting method stuff, like you're gonna go slower and more calculated because each stroke is meant to be your last. However, I just have the 10,000 hours programmed already to do like abstract and then like the push-pull of dropping something abstract and then adjusting and then abstract and then adjusting. So a little tricky for me. A little spot over here. It's this way now. A little spot over here I gotta fill in. It's gonna be nice when the entire background is done on here and we can finally start painting these foreground characters. But I made a promise to myself in the first couple episodes that I'm not touching any of the foreground till the background is locked in. It's always so, for me, personally, the reason is it's always so difficult to go back in your background or to begin the background after all the fun stuff is dialed in, even if it like supports the process because it dials everything into focus and now it looks even sharper when you add the blurry background. Like, it's just so much more boring, if you will, to do the background than the foreground, so I'd rather get it out of the way first. That makes sense? You know what I'm saying. Alright, now I gotta get a little bit more yellow over here. And there's a couple little variations we're gonna have to do within the yellow. And then at that point, we will be able to pull the tape. Start blending some stuffs. Pour out a little bit more of this yellow, because I only poured out a small amount, not knowing how much I need. I'm going to admit to a crime on this stream right now. So when I went to Michael's to pick up this pigment yesterday, I had the kids with me. They were being a little noisy, a little disruptive, a little distracting, and we got to the register, and Michael's, it's a huge corporation, right? It's all use scans and probably minimum wage until they have to give you a raise or else you leave type business, you know, not like an awesome company, but more like just a capitalist company, right? So any big box retailer, let's just call them that. So Michael's is a big box retailer. I'm sitting there scanning, doing the job myself that somebody else is supposed to be paid to do, but they push that off onto the consumer to scan their own merch. And I scanned the tube of paint and it goes pink, and I dropped it in the bag, but the pink that popped up was like, would you like to enter your rewards number? So I was like, all right, cool. I put it in, and I realized that it didn't actually scan the paint. So then I started scanning the other stuff, and it was like pink, 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 and each pink was the exact same sound effect as it popping up with a notification asking if I wanted to put in my rewards number. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take this one for free. So that's my crime. Don't follow me, I'm a criminal. There's nothing I can do to dial in the importance of stealing from giant corporations. Do it whenever you can. Do it on April 15th if possible. It's International Steal From Your Work Day. You're aware of that. Not get in the anarchist circles, you'll learn a lot of stuff. Okay, so now I have the yellow on there, scorching bright. We're gonna do a couple adjustments here. We're we're gonna get a little bit of a highlight edge and then a little bit of a shadow edge just from like the murkiness of like skates hitting the edge of the board, pucks hitting the edge of the boards, kind of like roughs it up a little bit, right? So I'm going to use a warm white, just kind of run in, just so you guys can see. Just gonna run a bead along the top edge here to brighten up that edge. See how that works? A little bit of a brighter edge there. And do the same thing throughout the rest of wherever this yellow appears. There's only like 3 little windows here. And this more opaque warm white that I have is gonna help me hide that pencil line a little bit. And this is more my style. Dropping down a brush stroke and then I'll check it later, see if it worked or didn't. And then adjust. Okay, we got that. Now here's the deal. I want to put a little bit of like murkiness down at the bottom, right? But if I dip into lamp black, or even like a Van Dyke brown, or I don't have that in my palette, like a burnt umber, raw umber, I'm sorry, it's gonna get like green. It's gonna not have like a it's not gonna bring the value down. It'll also destroy like the chromatic value, and it'll make it more green. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use a little bit of violet, because violet is the complementary color to the yellow. And I'm gonna push some more out, some plum gray. And by mixing across the color palette and mixing a little bit of this plum gray purple here, by mixing a little bit of that into the yellow, it's actually going to give me a gray. Go figure. And it's a really nice color for my murkiness, right? So here, you guys can still see this? All right, watch this. How much nicer that is. And we'll drop them on like they're scuff marks. Isn't that cool? And we don't have that nasty green. We have just a saturated tone. Set like that. More over on this side. Okay. Now, I don't want to blend out these tones yet because I want the adjacent colors to be near it. So I want the white of the ice below and the white of the boards above to be wet paint, so that when I blend my yellow, it also blends with those wet paints a little bit. So let's center this as best as I can. Now I'll just leave it on this edge. Let me pull this tape now and see how much we need to adjust the rest of the board's color and everything that's behind the tape. Nice. So yeah, by bringing the edge up here earlier, by adjusting this and bringing this upwards, it's balanced out a lot better. Now we can fill up this area here a little bit more white. And then we'll hit some below here, some below over on the other side. And then that will give us our level of diffusion that we're looking for by blending it out. First, let me get some more white back there. So I'm gonna drop these yellow brushes. I won't need those until it's time to potentially reblend some stuff. Sorry, you're gonna have to look at my big belly while I'm standing up here. You can read my shirt, it's silly. You know the meme, you know the meme. I'm doing the boards with a little bit of blue in them just to keep it from being flat white. flat weight's not going to be that interesting. And also, if I do the boards with a little bit of blue, but I don't use as much, I'm actually going to be using more like violet in the shadows that's on the ice. But if I do it a little bit more bluish up here and then a different hue for the whites of the ice, then it'll separate a little bit better, differentiate between the two fields. Foreshortening over here because of the angle of where my camera's situated, but I think we're even there. I just need to bring the width a little bit over here. Slick. Getting a real background going, folks. Okay, so now there's going to be a direct shadow right below this board onto the ice because that's where, here I'll zoom in on the reference I got over here. As you can see, there's like some shadowing right where the board touches the ice. We got to make sure to get that in there, and then it opens back up to the white. But then that line that you see right below that, the second stage of line, that's painted on the ice. That's one of the ice markers. Likely, that's a face-off circle. So we will need to make sure to indicate that. But all of this is going to be blurred out in the background. So first thing I want to do is just to get a nice grayish white in the bottom there, the direct shadow below the boards. And I can plug that in pretty easily, and then we'll do some white after that. And then the face-off circle line, let's regroup and imagine how we're going to do that once we get to that point. So, and then it's okay. It's mixed with the white. It's not unusual. It's not bad. I wish the Wings were playing tonight. I checked my schedule earlier, as I do every single day, and I was like, oh, yes. Alright, then we got white below that, so I'll drop that after I do the shading on the other side here. Direct shadow, just where it's meeting with the ice, and it's got a little bit of the yellowish tinge to it because it's reflecting. It's a direct reflection of what it's touching. Does that make sense? And then, oh, I still gotta fill up this area. Some blue whites. So that's gonna be some background peeking through in between our heroes. We don't have too much action in the chat right now. I see a few people are watching. You're welcome to jump in and distract me and ask me some dumb questions about anything, hockey, painting, whatever. And I would gladly answer on stream. So that means that most people watching right now are watching a VOD. So thanks for tuning in and following and supporting the channel. Alright, so we got that little bit of the background there. A little bit of a gap over here that I don't like though. buff these tones into the existing pigment that's there. Sweet. Okay, cool. So now, once I put the white in below the shadow, then I can blend out everything that we have so far, and then we can work on the ice below that. So I'm gonna need, because I wanted to have like the smallest amount of like violet tones. Let me just mix up a pile real quick. Bear with me here. I want to mix up some nice color. Some more titanium white. Enjoy looking at the top of my balding head. Where's my titanium white? Who stole my titanium white? We have this joke that we do at the tattoo studio. I had a mentor once who was like explosive and would just go crazy and scream like, you know, the meanest things. And he'd be like, who took my, what's a good color to reference? Dirty money. Who took my dirty money? Every time I go in my drawer, there's no dirty money. What the hell's wrong? Oh, there it is. And then he would just find it himself. And then not apologize for accusing other people of wronging him. Okay. I'm gonna need to use a rag really quick. Wipe off some excess paint that I have on this brush. Start dropping in some white icy color. Again, with just a little bit of a violet tinge to it. Sorry, I'm off camera here. Keep doing that. Basically, I mixed up a really light violet tone and then wiped it all off my brush, and then reloaded the brush with some titanium white pigment. And I'm just using essentially a dirty brush. And this way. Here. Ooh, I pushed really hard and a bunch of that violet came out. That's okay. Just take some straight titanium white, jump it back in, over it, mix it on the canvas. Right, not too terrible. Alright, so now I can grab just a big old painting brush, like a gesso brush, or a fat paintbrush. Something like one of these guys. There's still some pigment from my last blending session. And all I'm going to do is just really light pressure, just fly over the paint, blend the tones together. Bear with me while I do this side, and then we'll go over and do that other side. I'm just doing minimal pressure, just trying to push the layers of paint into each other to give it a nice little blend, nice little blur. This part. Cross hatching, of course, and then X's. Meaning I blend it left to right, I blend it up to down, and I blend it in X fashion. Nice and blurry. That's looking great. Over here I'll do the top edge, and then I'll do all the baseboards after this. Try to do this without my gut getting in the camera here. I'll go up down first, why not? Left, right. Liking it, liking it. A little bit more on the edge. Nice. Yeah, I could definitely see all my pencil lines busting through there. I don't know if you guys can tell from the angle of the camera, but we'll just double tap it a little bit later. Right. Down. The X. Call it a day. Slick. So, before our next session, I'll run through with a kneaded eraser and lift up anything that's like really egregious on my pencil lines, because this stuff popping through these lines up here, no boy. That's all right. We're getting a pretty good background going right now. Especially if you focus on the foreground features here of the pencil sketch and how sharp. Here, let me get this a little closer. And how sharp those details are compared to how blurred out the background is. It's going to have a really good photographic effect when all is said and done. Cool. All right, so let me start. We're at 41 minutes. Got 20 more minutes to go. Let's start plugging in some ice tones and filling out some more background. My white brush that's got a little bit of violet in it. Oh yeah, I gotta get that face-off circle indicator. It's just a little bit redder of what we already have for like the white violet, and some of that white violet right now. And then when I expand the palette to the reds for the Red Wings jerseys, I'll then come back over and tune it a little bit. I'll make it a little bit redder. Subsequent glaze layer. Right now, just have it softly indicated in there. And then we'll come right over all that stuff with some white. Painting white on white, what a fascinating oil painting stream to watch. Over it, push it back deep under the ice there. And you can see how it's now softly indicated, but it's not necessarily like sharp. That's what we're looking for. And if I need to tune that to be a little bit redder to show like the actual color of the paint that they use to put the face-off circling, I can deal with that subsequent session, subsequent glazing session. Right now, I like the warmth that it gives it too. That it gives the ice. Gives it like a little bit of color pop. Though it is much brighter white on reference, is it not? We should dial that in better. Let's do that. Plug a whole lot more titanium white. Straight out the tube, so definitely be thicker. We'll just kind of mix with the paint that's already on the canvas. It's definitely going to help us brighten that ice up a little bit less. violet. Now, I did not pre-mix tones for this ice because I just assumed it would be this easy, you know? But if I wanted to get a little bit more anal about it, I could have eyedropper tooled the reference, found the exact tone, pre-mixed a big pile of it on my palette paper over here, and then just dropped it in, and that decision would have already been made, you know, before we even got to painting day, which is something I like to do from time to time. Not always, but pre-mixing paint is how we did the entirety of the people behind the glass up here. Spent a day just looking at the reference and figuring out what kind of color I'd like to use. Alright, that feels better already, definitely. And then that little bit of murkiness and shadow that's underneath it here, we can actually minimize that because it looks like we did a little bit too much. So let me pull that back to like there. It's so funny hearing my little 3-year-old's voice in the other room. Such a tiny innocent person for how angry, screaming she is all the time. Right, good, looking good. Yeah, already feeling better for sure. Nice, and then use this brush to kind of just blend those together. Feel a real light pressure running parallel with brush strokes, and we got ourselves a smooth ice feature. Tight. Cool, let's come over and fix the mess that is over here now. Believe it or not, you're gonna believe it, but believe it or not, when I'm at home by myself painting, not on stream, I don't narrate everything I'm doing. And a lot of times, now I don't have a problem doing this, I just want to let you know that, but a lot of times the narration is a little distracting and makes it difficult to do. Yeah, that was pretty good. Getting better, closer, warmer for sure. Let me see what's going on with this little swoosh over here. That's another bit of the paint that's on the ice. I can't tell what it is in my reference. It's another face-off circle. See, I knew where we were. Alright, yeah. Let's put that in too. Why not? We're already here. I have a brush that's got like a little bit of a purple tinge on it already. Maybe I'm using that. That's fine. Use this guy. So it goes basically from like right above my ends here, on the half there, just right where the hilt of the skate is. So. And we just blend that in with a whole bunch of white. It'll does come through here too. You can see it actually in between. It on some canvas today. It's a lot different, and I would say a lot nicer working on canvas or linen than on gessoed panel. Last painting session, or the last painting stream we did, sorry, was oil on panel, and there's so many issues popped up because this canvas is my forte. Well, oil prime Belgian linen is my forte, but didn't have opportunity to get that type of canvas for this project. That into the white of the ice. The best I could to obliterate any sharp edges, anything that's like a rough edge. We want to get rid of that because, again, the more softness in the background, it's going to really inform how sharp focused the foreground is, and that's what we want to go for in this painting. We want to go for pretty extreme realism effects. So try to keep that pretty blurred out. Pretty good, pretty smooth. Liking it. 52 minutes, we got about 10 minutes still, so we're good. This is going to be basically open ice coming all the way down here. There's a little bit of a shadow over here that I'm seeing. It's like that type of shape. Plug that shadow in. Could be a shadow, could be more paint on the ice, not sure. There's definitely a whole lot of paint down here that we gotta translate. That's the word I've been looking for this whole time, is we're translating a reference photograph to a painting, right? So we need to take information that's in the photograph that's crucial, and then we need to take the liberties, the artistic liberties that are crucial after that, and then the convergence of those two things is what creates the painting. Just copying a painting one for one as sharp as possible, you might as well just get a Xerox machine or just print it out on canvas. Like, what was the point, you know? There's definitely interpretation that has to take place. So what does that look like for me? Normally, it's like some bolder color choices, but a lot of that comes just from as I'm mixing, not dialing in exactly the way I want, and then I go back to try to fix stuff, and then it creates opportunities for bold color choices. Looseness of brushstrokes for sure. Like, it's not just like glass smooth that you want to get in the background. You need to have a little bit of choppiness to like the edges and whatnot, so that the foreground pops. Again, I've been doing it for so long, I don't know anymore. Like chicken or egg, you know? Is it my sloppy approach that's causing those effects, or are those effects what's, you know, in here that I want to get on the canvas? After you get like 20,000 hours in as an artist, you have to stop thinking about, or should I say, you have to stop expecting to be able to answer those questions of yourself. Just let the painting happen. it's not about intention. It's about influence. You're influencing the painting. And if somebody with the exact same knowledge set and skill set sat next to me and did the same thing but painted from a place of full intuition without too much focus on what they're doing, like just let their mind wander and let the body take over, they would have a different painting when it's all said and done. Even if we tried to apply the exact same methods, you know, if the same teacher was sitting in front of us telling us to do the same, giving us the same instructions, we might still end up in a position where our paintings look completely different. And that's perfectly fine. That is part of it. I'm liking this. Like, you know, am I loving it? No, but I'm liking this. Alright, so now I like how the effect that we're getting over here in this corner of the ice, but it's too defined over here. So I'm going to come back over here, some more white, and soften up this idea. Just so both sides balance and match each other. There's still a lot of the murkiness in the yellow. It's a lot chunkier on this side and a lot more softly blended on that side, so let's blend that out a little bit more. Shall we? We shall. Sorry, off camera on the floor. I got a bin with a bunch of brushes in it. Better what we're looking for there. That's cool. Cool. So far, so good. Like what I'm looking at. Sorry about my camera angles being all weird. I'm kind of picking it up and setting it down. So we need to get all the ice down here in. That's going to be next stream. Can't do that in 3 minutes. But yeah, get all that ice down in there figured out, then we can start working on this foreground. So I'd say one more stream of me just painting white on white, and then we can start painting some red on blue, if you know what I'm saying. Some red wings on lightning. So I fully intend on contacting any people I know that work with the Red Wings organization after this painting's over to show it off and talk about it and whatnot. I wonder if I could do the same thing for Tampa Bay. Because they definitely look like they're losing this fight. I don't think they're going to want to talk about this oil painting. Oh, that's funny. Alright, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for swinging by. Appreciate everything, of course. If you enjoyed the video, it'd be cool if you gave us a like. If you really enjoyed the channel, it'd be cool if you gave us a subscribe. And then you can always set up notifications so that you can see when we're going to be on. It'll pop up on your phone, your tablet, your computer, whatever you're using, and then you can get in our chat and talk with me throughout the course of the painting. Sometimes I need the distraction. Sometimes the distraction is what helps me make the right decisions, not the wrong ones. So, thanks a lot, guys. I will see you later.